So our next speaker is our guest speaker, Pam Ziga. Pam is an experienced nature photographer who loves to shoot flora, fauna, and landscapes. She's photographed wildlife in all over the East Coast, traveled to exotic locations in South Africa, Germany, and the Galapagos Islands. Pam also teaches children and adults to swim and has taught an estimated over 900 people to swim in the past 40 years. She works at Premier Athletic Club in Montrose as a swimming and aqua aerobics instructor. In addition, she works as a direct service professional for people with special needs. It's never too late to reinvent yourself, Pam Zika. It's never too late to reinvent yourself, Pam Zika. We will start. I'm going to share the screen. One moment. We were going to start with a video first, and then Pam will get into it.
Sarah, quick question. Am I also timing from the start? Am I timing from the start of the video or from the start
Yes,
when
yes,
Pam speaks? So, the start of the video?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
A minute you feel better? I can, and it's nature. Whether you live in an apartment building, a private house, or a yurt, going out in nature can be rejuvenating. The wind in your hair, the rain on your skin, anytime out in nature is healing and grounding. And I've captured many moments through the lens of my camera. Here are a few samples, and there are many more to be seen in my gallery at pamzika.crotonarts.org. I have been featured in a gallery called Kino Saito in Verplanck, New York. Two of my photos have sold. I capture photos of flora and fauna, both local and not so local. One of my favorite places to go to is George's Island Park in Montrose, New York. And here's why. Good morning from George's Island Park in Montrose, New York. Here amongst the baby mallards we just saw, this is one of my favorite places to come down to. Some of you may know me as a swimming instructor for over 40 years. I have another passion, nature and photography, combining both. pamzika.crotonarts.org is where you can find my work. The first photo I took was the 23rd Street subway stop on the One Line going up Broadway that my mother said, hey, why don't you make a card? It would be a great idea. So that was how that was birthed. And you can check out my gallery at pamzika.crotonarts.org. Click to see my photos, and then there'll be a new tab where you can click to order. Come down to George's Island Park, and if you're not local, enjoy the scenery. And thank you for checking out my website.
Good evening, and thank you for attending. Thank you for inviting me, Sarah, to tonight's Toastmasters event. And we need the slides. Oh, there we go. Great. So there's a bit of a backstory. The video was produced back in June of 2025 with help from my friend Ann Serino. We went down to George's Island Park, where you saw in the video, together, and I thought, why not make a video of what I like to do? So I found a comfy rock, sat on the rock, and Anne started videotaping me, and I just felt so comfortable. And we also, another friend of mine named Nicole Batiste of Antara Mastery World Care Through Self-Care and a teacher on Insight Timer, edited my video. The music unfortunately didn't play. And she added the photos and blended the two videos together. This photo that you see in front of you was from 2020, from 2020 during the pandemic when we had vendor events through Mount Carmel in Verplank, and this was my first attempt. This was, I think, October. We started in May on Mother's Day weekend, and this was my first table, which was you'll see the growth over the years, over the 6 years, which I can't believe 6 years has flown. So next slide, please. I was invited by Connie Dykman, who is the curator of the Hendrick Hudson Library in Montrose, to have a one-person show. She came up to my booth one Sunday and said, "Would you like to have a one-woman show when the library reopens?" And I was like, I just have photographs and cards and 5x7s. Where am I going to come up with information, or where am I going to come up with photographs for an entire an entire room full of photos? And this was me, the top of the stairs, from the photograph that you see was from Bear Mountain State Park. And I took this photo before the pandemic started when I was with a friend and we were hiking at Bear Mountain. And I was wearing a mask because we were in the middle of the pandemic, and I had to have all of my refreshments in plastic containers, and I couldn't have anything served that wasn't protected with a barrier. Next, please. This man in the middle of this photo, I'm on his left, and the woman that introduced me to Jim Christensen, who is the board president of the Croton Council on the Arts, she introduced me to Jim in 2020. We had a virtual Hudson River Arts Festival on Zoom, which was really quite interesting to have something where everybody had their own booth. And so this was the first year, I believe, that we had our first outdoor Hudson River Arts Festival at Sonasco Park in Montrose. And we've had it outside ever since. And one of my goals for tonight is to hope I can inspire others to pursue their creative endeavors. And at the end of my speech, you will see links where you too can be involved in the Croton Council on the Arts if you would like to be. Next, please. This was, I believe, the same day that this other photograph was taken, and this was my table, and I had a banner that you can see in the back, and my booth was a little more inviting, but not quite there. My growth has taken a long journey, and Galloping into Greatness was a perfect theme for me, as you will see in later slides, how my work has progressed, how my table design has progressed. Next, please. This was this year at Hudson River Arts Festival, and I have a person named Jessica Teal who helped me rebrand myself, and we changed the banner, we changed the name of the company, and I find myself growing and inspiring these two young boys that came to look at my photographs. They were really interested in the candy, though, that I think was at the other end of the table. And I also shared the booth it's a 10 by 10 booth space, and I shared the booth with another artist. Next, please. So, this photograph was taken at Hudson Valley Books for Humanity, where Carolyn Murray, a student at Scarsdale High School, found my post on growing up in Scarsdale in the 70s and the 80s, and she came up to me at the exhibition I was at and said, "Are you Pam Kolberzika?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "I recognize you from my brother told me about your event today." So she showed up, and it was kind of cool to reunite with somebody that I never really knew in high school. Next slide, please. So when I got to Hudson Valley Books for Humanity, I had this table, and I'm used to a 6-foot table. So when I saw the table, I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I pivoted, and the table was actually beautiful once I looked at it. And if you go to the next slide, you will see that I was able to utilize the table with the front and the back. So when people came around, they could see how the display worked with what I was given. And I also have cards that are at Hudson Valley Books for Humanity for sale. And next slide, please. So this was from Christmas time. This was the Ottinger room, and this was my final presentation of how my booth space or my table has gone from bare bones in 2020 to how I've developed my table over the years. And next slide, please. So, New Croton Review, anyone can submit work to the New Croton Review. It is a publication by the Croton Council on the Arts. I think, in five or six of them. And the New Croton Review, a journal of the literary and visual arts, is a direct descendant of its precursor, the Croton Review, published in the 1970s and 80s with a distinguished roster of contributing writers and artists. Our new endeavor builds on this legacy by seeking out and publishing high quality poems, stories, creative nonfiction, photography, and art from a diversity of sources. Whether as a consumer or a contributor, both, we hope you will join us as we strive to live up to your expectations and our own. Anyone here can get information from me to have your work published, to submit your work, to have it be reviewed, and to be published in this wonderful publication that I have been graced with to be published in. And I think that is the last slide. Um, Thank you very much, Sarah, for inviting me to speak. I was nervous about speaking, but I think I did a good job. And these are all the links that you can find. I think they're going to be put in the chat. I have self-published two books that are both on Amazon. You can contact me if you would like to join the Photographers of Northern Westchester. We meet the first Wednesday of the month from 7:30 to 9 o'clock. And Jim Christensen, who is the board director of the Croton Council on the Arts, who you saw in the photograph, who is about 6'4", is the man that I can put you in touch with. And thank you very much. I see the timer going on in the upper right-hand corner. I don't see the traffic light. And thank you very much for all of you participating to watch my speech. And thank you, Sarah, and thank you, fellow Toastmasters, who I hope to one day become a participant in. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Pam. Amazing job, amazing journey. It really gives us inspiration on how we can all reinvent ourselves. I really loved your journey and loved your art. I've seen your art in person. I actually have one on my bathroom wall. So I'm so every time I look at that, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I love photography. I love nature, and what you have is amazing. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, and we look forward to more speeches maybe possibly on your travels and your photography. So,
I would love that. Thank you so much. I really
yes,
appreciate appreciate your support and also helping me make the slides.
yes. And I will share all of Pam's information in chat, and she does publish a newsletter every week. So if
Every
you're
month, every month.
every month. So if you're interested in learning more about Pam and seeing where she is going to be exhibiting, definitely get in touch with Pam. But I will share the information in the chat.